every turn, and that's what Mage hates. They want things that are easy to kill in one fell swoop, or giant things that they get devolving missiles and kind of sweep to the side. They don't deal well with these kind of strategies that can go wide with a bunch of death rattle stuff in the mid game. But we'll see, because sometimes the deck doesn't always work out that way. There's a lot of greedy top end in No Hands' list. And so sometimes you can hit that side of the deck and not the side that's efficient death rattle minions that keep tutoring themselves out of the hand.
Job done.
Well, either way, a pretty good start on both ends. Wow, Beastmaster and Razorboard in the hand to consecutively chain, even having the draw to consistently put the death rattle packages together on the left side. But for Muzzy, he has Incanter's Flow, so I can't really tell who has the advantage, because as much as I would love to say, oh, you know, Incanter's Flow, Mage wins, he doesn't have card draw to back it up. And we've seen a lot of mages in this exact position have Incanter's Flow, even have a second Incanter's Flow, and do absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah. I don't think No Hands is particularly worried about the Incanter's Flow in this situation. He's got the goods.
I mean, this curve from No Hands. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, TJ, this is some fireworks. We're a month early, but July 4th has arrived. Look at No Hands' curve. 1, 2, and then he's got the Razorfin Beastmaster with Vengeful Spirit and Vectis, right? Like, these are all options that are at his disposal and could continue to curve out and ensure that he never loses his board. The only way that it could go awfully is if Muzzy uses Devolving Missiles, but there's, you know, ways to play around that from No Hands' perspective.
The only awkward part about this hand is that you don't want to play any of this stuff manually. You want it all to be pulled out by the minions that you already have on the board.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay, so he wants to play Fell Rattler now, and then the Beastmaster will, or the Quillboard will pull the Beastmaster, then the Beastmaster will pull the Fishy Flyer. Okay.
It's funny because I don't.
It's set up.
Out of context, it doesn't sound like you're saying the right card names. You're just like describing them. Yeah, the fishy thing. But it's like, actually, that is what it's called, the Fishy Flyer.
Yeah. The fishy, what does it do? It flies the Fishy Flyer, the Beastmaster, because he's got Beast next to him.
Right, the boar guy.
Yeah.
Either way,
I wonder.
No Hands has a pretty good setup. Now, the thing about Devolving Missiles that you could play around is you have to go really wide on the board because they only can hit 3 things. And Muzzy doesn't have the Devolving Missiles right now. So what does he choose to do? I guess he could set up a Trick Totem or the Imprisoned Phoenix, maybe both.
Oh, Trick Totem, nice. Had to set up both.
Job done.
What's it gonna give? Oh!
I mean,
nice.
Makes sense, right? It discounted all of his spells already. Might as well discount his minions. Thank you, deck. Vengeful Spirit. Just conceptually, a 4-mana 4/4 that draws 2 cards just sounds bonkers, because it kind of is. So I like where No Hands' head is at by just having the consistency of this deck feel like it's improved with the draw. Now, from Muzzy's perspective, what do you do?
You could like Egwin, then Brain Freeze the Vengeful Spirit, and kind of just keep this like, I'm not going to kill your Death Rattle minions. I'm going to force you to trade them in yourself, and I'm just going to push past it. But now we've kind of reached an impasse where No Hands will get value out of this boar. Whether Muzzy likes it or not, it will happen. But now at least he has a 5/5 on the board. Okay.
So if he trades in the board, it pulls out likely one of the Beastmasters.
Nope, pulled out the ectoplasm.
Okay.
And No Hands is just feels like he's doing a whole lot of nothing right now. He's just adding more expensive cards to his hand.
Yeah, not playing the Beastmaster is kind of a big deal. Now his board is actually quite flimsy.
Yep.
Like, I wouldn't hate just a rip of a Mask of Cthulhu here. Just like...
Me neither. It's 10 damage to face.
Do not mind 6 mana Pyroblast.
It could be a,
I wonder.
I don't remember what the lifesteal
Vital?
adventure is called. Vital, there you go. Nope, Arcane. Nope. Ah, no spell damage in the deck. Cool.
See, I think that what people might mistaken us for is saying that, like, oh, this card is bad, but Ectoplasm is bad. I don't think it's bad. I actually think it's a pretty solid card, especially if you're playing in, like, different format, like Arena. It's actually quite high value. But,
yeah.
It just feels like for what this deck wants to do, it's not entirely necessary. But that being said, Death Rattles are Death Rattles, and the package is solid enough to build up a meaningful board state, and it's resulted in No Hands being slightly ahead here. Finally getting a Beastmaster down is huge, just because he can get the train going. Now we shall see how Muzzy chooses to go about this.
I wonder.
I don't think he has a
easy.
2-turn lethal setup, though.
No. If he masks now, it would be 4 damage to face. He would need some help off the top, but maybe that he thinks that's his best chance of winning the game. It's got like a fireball out for lethal next turn.
Yeah, fireball
Blast.
or Pexus Blast, I think. The game might actually be one off of the cast.
Stelina.
Ooh, yeah. Stop the burn damage. Like, your opponent just played a Mask of Cthulhu on a board state that didn't look great for it. It feels like it's a setup for burn. I like the Star Student Stelina a lot. He's doing it.
We'll just have a little peek.
No Hands. Peeks at the hand. Oh, it doesn't find the burn. Wow. There's a 3 out of 5 chance to find it.
I guess you get rid of the Flame Strike. Muzzy's probably thoroughly confused. Okay, we're looking at... Ooh, okay, still a fireball out for lethal here. Oh, he nailed it! Oh, man! And No Hands is like, why didn't I see that fireball?
I mean, he knows why. He only looked at 3 cards.
Yeah, I know.
5. And that will do it for game 1. Mage gets the win. Now, realistically, once more, it kind of goes back to the situation where even if Muzzy didn't have the lethal that turn, No Hands wasn't putting enough pressure on to really challenge Muzzy. He even had Ruined Orb, right? So, like, maybe Ruined Orb finds just a little bit extra damage. He pings him over 2 turns. It was going to be tough regardless of how NoHandsGamer ended up playing out the rest of his turns, even if he shuffled that fireball in. That being said, his hand was looking like it was starting to pick up, and that's definitely one of the common problems that I feel that this deck does possess, which is very regularly I'm left wondering what could I have done to speed up the clock by 1 turn, because I often find myself in that situation where I was like on the verge of turning the corner and then I died. So, you know, there's something to this deck for sure. It's a lot of power and potential in it, but what is the final version of it? We're not entirely sure right now.
Yeah, only time will tell, right? hasn't been much time to experiment with it or try and hone in what even the good matchups are for the deck too, right? Like, where does it fit in to a tournament strategy? I'm sure No Hands is close, but we'll see after you know, this weekend whether he was close enough. He's going to move to a Spell Mage, very similar to what we just saw from Muzzy. -1 Deck of Lunacy, +1 Shooting Star. A little bit better against some decks, but honestly, like, in a lot of the decks where Shooting Star would be good, Deck of Lunacy would also be good, right? Talking about the matchups that are worse for Mage on average, the Token Druids, the board-centric matchups, Rogue, Rush Warrior, Token Druid. That's where Deck of Lunacy can also shine. So we'll see if still going to be able to get there. I think Priest is one of those decks as well. Sometimes you feel like you do need Deck of Lunacy to win because of how much just raw healing Priest can put out. I don't think this is one of those decks though for Muzzy. This is a this is as greedy as it gets. His top end just double Scoundrel, double HR Elemental, Mutinous N'Zoth, and Cthulhu. He just put it all in there.
Yeah, this is just a controlled priest that has old gods plus the new Murloc for the most part. There's just a lot of minion presence that the priest is trying to go for as a late game win condition. And you know what? I can't fault the idea that priest players want to eventually win the game. There's nothing wrong with that concept. In fact, I'm all for it. But I will say that I think that it's a little bit fancy with like trying to go for like a N'Zoth form, because I think you lose what made Control Priest really powerful and obnoxious, which was that the entire deck was low curve and it had so many ways to scale up and utilize its mana efficiently because it generated cards. Now it feels like we're losing what made that control deck the edge versus other things like Control Warrior, Control Warlock. Because the problem with those versions of archetype TJ is a lot of times they just draw expensive cards and they just get overwhelmed. And now I feel like we're starting to see priests gravitate towards having that like top-end expensive package that can sometimes sabotage them and leave them to having dead hands.
Yeah. I think it's my read. Incredibly true. And you're improving your win rate in some matchups. I feel like you're sacrificing your win rate in others, and your deck's becoming less flexible. Which, like you kind of honed in on, is one of its like biggest strength of the deck is just it being flexible and being able to craft a game plan as you go along. Right? I don't want to start the game with a win condition when I play Priest. I don't want to do that.
That's too.
I want to find my win condition as I go along.
Exactly. Only the true enlightened individuals with IQ in the 4 digits could truly appreciate that.
That's right.
But there's also something to consider, TJ, which we're not being fair about, which is lineup strategy in Conquest. A lot of times people might be thinking, if Priest is a common bring, what can I do to go over the top of Priest? And it's just these greedy, big, heavy-hitting packages that they can't answer easily. Because they could play AoE until they're blue in the face, but if they're doing like 2 to 3 damage every single time, or they're not generating the exact resource to deal with it, a N'Zoth package is going to crush them. So I totally get if that's what they're trying to go for their main core strategy. Just we have yet to see it truly work out that way. Now that we're kind of past that early game, going for a couple of box openings here, Muzzy does find some tools that might be useful. I'm looking at Alex Straza as something that Muzzy might use as a late game top end to help him either put pressure or heal himself outside of mage range, but it might be too slow.
Yeah, I think like the way his curve is kind of moving right now is he's going to play Body of Cthulhu next turn, and then on turn 6 he can just roll into Skeletal Dragon. And he can kind of just ignore whatever No Hands is doing because he's not going to be building up a board. No Hands is going for setup turns. And if he can force burn damage onto some of these minions, especially after having already seen 1 Devolving Missiles, that's fantastic. So I think like just playing big minions turn after turn after turn is like a better strategy against Mage than trying to hoard all of your healing, especially with the kind of list that Muzzy's playing.
Good point. Not to mention, it isn't a Zot deck like we said. Might be worth thinking about what gets resurrected.
Job's done.
And the Skeletal Dragon could curve into N'Zoth, and you just revive it immediately with a 4/9.
Yeah.
Primordial Studies.
Didn't hit Lab Partner, which would have been a nice clean kill onto the body of Cthulhu, but I don't think I was too worried about that.
Wow.
That's a lot of draw in a couple turns.
Yeah. I guess it could set up a rigged fair game as well, just for future turns. Also, a little bit of disruption. Makes Muzzy test for a counterspell, or at least consider it before he commits to something. So, Skeletal Dragon can get easily traded if a mirror entity appears. So well done.
Yep.
Placing in the middle, playing around Combustion.
Yeah, Coldara Drake. Nice. It's just big. It's just real big.
Meaty. Does Boulderfist Ogre allow you to hero power as much as you want? No. Oh! Ooh, Skeletal Dragon dodges. Prison Scrap Imp?
I mean,
Give him Samuro synergy?
not terrible. I know. It's not terrible. Like, he does have an above average amount of minions in his hand.
Yeah.
And a Light Shower Elemental, too. And that's both Devolving Missiles gone as well.
True, true.
So it would have to be discovered Devolving Missile from No Hands to get through this stuff, or throwing a lot of burn into minions in the near future.
The path is clear.
It might be the latter, TJ. Let's see what cards he draws first, shall we? Cram Session, 3 cards for 1 mana. Muzzy's positioned very well around potential Shooting Star. The Imprisoned Scrappy, dormant.
Oh.
Jeez, he's drawn 7 cards this turn. Could go up to 9 cards with the Refreshing Spring Water. This is looking silly. However, that Light Shower Elemental is proving to be quite annoying.
Yeah. You can like double Shooting Star it and then Apexis Blast Face or something along those lines.
Time runs out on me.
Yeah, Combustion here just also
Fireball,
answers it.
probably.
Yeah, that also makes sense too.
Okay. I don't know. I kind of wanted to make use of those shooting. Those Shooting Stars. I guess it'll be relevant at some point.
Samuro actually has the.
It's as good as it's ever gonna get right now.
Yeah, pretty close to it. No cap.
Wow.
I like it.
So Rigged Fair Game is really going to hurt No Hands here. Another reason why I'd like to go for the double Shooting Star last turn.
Right. I forgot about Rigged Fair Game.
I don't know why he didn't play double Shooting Star last turn and then Apexis Blast Face. He's going to burn 2 cards.
Oh.
Wait, 3 cards.
I think he just forgot about it.
My hand is too full. My hand is too full.
Brain Freeze, Encounter Slow, Arcane Intellect.
Okay, not super impactful. He didn't really need more card draw. And the discounts
I mean, he had double Fireball Mask of Cthulhu in his deck. Like, he is very fortunate that he didn't discard a bunch of burn.
Yes. It could have been ugly, TJ.
Yeah.
But instead, it is calculated.
But as I said, he has double Fireball Mask of Cthulhu left in the bottom of his deck, so No Hands has a lot of damage. And Muzzy doesn't necessarily have a lot of healing, right? He's got board at the moment.
There you go. Double shooting stuff.
Okay. Sure.
He now has to account for what possible secrets. You can see the frown on his face, like, ugh. One of these is Mirror Entity. It makes it feel really bad to play a big dragon that got buffed by the in-person Scrap Imp. Pass with a counterspell.
Minions left deck for Muzzy for the insight. Mind Render, Lucia, Venomous Scorpid, Southeast Scout. There's like 10 minions left.
Yeah, there's a lot. Circus Amalgam gets revived off of the Zoth because it's just an all type, so it just counts as whatever hasn't been summoned yet.
I taste fear.
3, 7, or sorry, yeah, 3, 7, 12 mana of burn, 18 mana worth of burn. That deals 5 plus 12 plus 10.
The only language they speak is war, and
Slowly but surely getting there. TJ, I feel like we're going to get to that point where the priest deck is at that same spot. Oh, Milhands doesn't actually play the secrets, though, because he recognizes that he's going to be limited by mana. But I was going to say that Muzzy just has a bunch of minions and doesn't have ways to interact with the board or his health total.
I mean, 2 of the burn spells that are left are masks.
So now it's time to play Light Shadow.
No Hands did use the discovered fireball there.
Right. Because it was the more expensive
Which
one.
means that it was the more expensive one. It's more mana efficient, but at the same time, it just does give up like his game plan. Muzzy now knows that it's double fireball, double mask as the burn spells that's left. So last 3 cards are double Font of Power and Fireball for No Hands. It does have some minion power left as well. Just how does he piece together the remainder of this burn?
I think from his perspective, how much can he get out of these cards like Ring Toss as well? He was considering it from the previous turn. I kind of like the Mask of Cthulhu being played as well this turn because it's so expensive. Start things off by using Combustion. Try to push that damage. Is it enough to stabilize him? Hysteria?
Then play what? Cyrella?
I guess so. Eliminating the minion threat is really important because you know that No Hands needs to get damage in. And right now, the only way he can do it is through the fireballs and the Mask of Cthulhu and Hero Power, although there is the Font of Power to potentially swing things.
There's 2 Font of Powers left, actually, so there's a good amount of minion pressure that No Hands still has available to him. Obviously, depending on the quality, there's some minions that are just clearly unplayable at this point, like Sage. Looks like he's going to go Condemn Heart of Cthulhu, Hero Power. Or Condemn Zyrella. Ooh, Condemn Zyrella I actually really like. Because this puts a minion on the board and clears.
What I like about this is he heals, because I think the Hysteria line doesn't heal him, and he needs to heal every single turn he can.
Yeah.
Font of Power, by the way, if it like gives him more Dresh, I'm kind of wondering about the Mutinous combos. Definitely something to think about.
These minions just don't seem anywhere near big enough.
Yeah. I mean, No Hands could play Kuldar Drake for a 2 burst finisher, I guess. It's kind of hard to say that sentence without laughing because it's just so pitiful in its attempt to actually get burst damage. It's 10 mana, deal 2. Oh no! Okay, so that was the hero power. It looked like it wasn't going to kill the Zyrella.
My business.
Wow.
Okay.
So heal here puts you to 15. 2 fireballs and hero power is 15 with the smuggler on the board.
He could call Dollar Drake heal twice.
Oh, all right. Kuldar Drake hero power twice. I like it. Also could Heart of Cthulhu and then hero power. Should be safe.
I think he needs a minion on board.
I like the Kuldar Drake better for sure.
Oh yeah, it's an 8/8 because the imprisoned scrap it.
I'm almost out of cards.
Yep.
There's fireball number 2.
There's the fireball. Last card is Font of Power.
But more importantly, there's Apotheosis in Muzzy's hand now.
Yeah. No Hands has to think long and hard about whether or not he wants to take down. Whoa.
What to do? What to
Oh, he wants another. He wants the Font of Power.
So last card is Font of Power, but it'll only draw 1 spell, so it won't. It'll only reset 2 mana crystals.
Right. He's paying 2 mana to draw 1 card, which is entirely reasonable.
Okay, counterspell. Yeah, Mirror Entity.
Big minions. Trying to get it done. Recognizing the threat of Apotheosis.
Yeah, but this should just be that's just game over for Muzzy. Could literally just heal pass every single turn and win. Well, I guess the Font of Power is the one last thing.
True. I wonder if he also is tempted to diffuse the secrets, and then he can Mirror Entity and Shadow Word Death on the following turn.
Yeah. So Heart of Cthulhu now.
Yep.
And then just Hero Power, and then next turn, yeah, just clear off whatever minions are left.
Yes.
This one Fireball, Muzzy knows everything except for the minions. He knows there's a Refreshing Spring Water and a Fireball left. Those are okay. Those are actually really good.
Your Entity again?
I guess it's the only one that really makes much sense.
The problem with Raz is that you set yourself up for Hysteria.
Yeah, but everything sets up for Hysteria. At this point, you just got to kind of hope he doesn't have it.
Right.
What to do? What to do?
So he knows that there's 1 dragon in hand. This was a skeletal dragon pickup. This Sleepy Dragon was the dragon that was, I believe, added to the hand from the skeletal dragon.
Runs out on me.
Wow.
Okay.
So Muzzy has a full clear, Hysteria, Shadow Word Death, Hero Power, and I think in his mind he might just go for the defensive line. Even with full information, this feels a little bit trickier because we know about the Mirror Entity's secret. So if he plays like any minion, he is helping No Hands mount this counteroffensive.
Yes, but how?
What about if he just plays the Sleepy Dragon anyway?
It's a 6-13.
No time.
What's a way that he can get punished off of Fond of Power? Or no, the Ethereal Conjure is the scariest.
Oh, it's a 6-13?
Yeah. The scariest part is the spell off the Ethereal Conjure, I think, is why Muzzy has to do this. Because he has to account for the worst case scenario, and it could be like Master. Well, if it's Master Cthulhu, he's dead no matter what. But it's not. So he's like, what if it's like devolving missiles and pushes past? Also, Firework Elemental got corrupted?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
What?
Wave of Apathy? He could mutinous Wave of Apathy.
Oh, yeah. I think eating one of the minions here is like directly trying to kill one of his win conditions potentially too. You don't know if
yeah.
Again, like what if it's like a Mordresh situation, right? Where he just needs the hero power a lot.
Yeah, it's if he hits Firework Elemental. Oh, he didn't hit the Firework Elemental, so now his mutinous could just die. Or his mutinous will die.
Yes. But Hysteria?
Yeah, and then Hysteria will clear it on the following turn, right?
Yeah.
My colors burn.
And Muzzy should have a read that this is Mirror Entity.
Right.
The secret that's from hand.
Right, because he didn't play it for so long.
Yeah. He could always apotheosis the... Wait, could he? No, he can't apotheosis it because then it wouldn't die. He'll just have to test for Hysteria or try and find a cheap spell. Because Hysteria will kill... Oh no, it won't kill all three because that only has 6 attack.
Nice. 7, so he just Hysteria the...
Oh yeah, no, but then then it won't die.
Yeah, you apotheosis and then you... Am I missing something? Oh, because it's 8 health.
Then the firework elemental won't die.
Oh.
He
awkward. He knows the last card
What about
should be Refreshing Spring Water. Okay, what if he plays Sleepy Dragon into the Mirror Entity, then...
And he dies.
Oh, you know what's scary is the fact that if he passes over in Cobalt and the dragon survives, he gets 5 hero powers to use.
Yeah, he just has to Hysteria and hero power and hope he finds a way to get through it next turn.
Oh.
Yeah.
No Hands was really hoping that he had no other removal.
And now the Sleepy Dragon actually will lock it out.
Believe so.
Even if it's mirror entity.
N'Zoth. There.
Oh, N'Zoth!
I mean, he has Light Shower Elemental,
there it is.
right?
He's got Light Shower Elemental. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Muzzy's looking. He's like, was there a randomly generated elemental that would block this?
Nope.
Because it's mirror entity.
That's it.
Nope. That's it.
Oh, so close. No Hands came so close from grinding this out. A really impressive game to be able to push it to this limit. But that is going to do it. 2-0 for the Muzz. 1 game away from going this Sunday, but does have to do it with his final deck, and we I've seen players get to this point and still not be able to get the win. And his Paladin deck, the one that we have the most questions about, is on deck.
Paladin. Oh, jeez. Of course it's Paladin. Yeah, but that was a very impressive game from both sides, honestly. I felt like it was like Muzzy's puzzle to solve, right? And No Hands was just trying to make it as difficult as possible to solve. Like, Muzzy was given all the tools to win that game. He just needed to like fit the pieces together in the right way. And he did. He did so. And No Hands, I feel like, made it as difficult as possible for him, playing around Hysteria to the maximum and the very last couple turns, layering his burn well to give himself outs, right? Ripping the masks as soon as he possibly could with like limited amounts of minions on board, trying to maximize damage to face. So just a nice game, a refresher after what happened in the last series. And now 3 chances to win with the Libra Paladin. 3 chances.
That should be enough, right? I think.
Enough games to get Meeting Stone on 1. That's an auto win.
It's true. I gotta say that
It's true.
it's a very easy situation, even from the priest perspective. If that you weren't careful with stuff, you would also potentially die. That last Hysteria create from palm reading, quite brutal, because that's something that No Hands was really hoping that there wasn't of, like no removal, no soul mirror or anything like that. But even then, I think it was pretty much just Hysteria that could really crush his dreams there. So quite a brutal loss indeed. Now in terms of like ways to 3-0 this Paladin, I wonder what No Hands feels like his best bet is to start things off here. And if there's one thing that I know about No Hands, is that he does not give up. Even if it's down to like the very last card and he's about to get eliminated, he will fight as if the next draw would be the one that wins him the game in the series.
Holy moly, Dan, look at this thing. Look at that deck.
Yeah, it's got a lot of one-ofs. This is such an expensive Rush Warrior. It's 15,000 dust and change.
Wow.
It's closer to 16,000, which is quite absurd of a cost.
This deck has some staying power, for sure. The only issue I see is that, yeah, is one, what if it draws its expensive side of the deck first, and 2, it does still like lack card draw. I guess it's in a claw machine, which is, I mean, it's card draw. But if you get to the late game with this deck, oh boy, you're just smacking a big thing on the board turn after turn after turn. Sometimes more. But oh, forget that last deck, Dan. Look at this deck. Look at it in all its glory. That's 2
so
meetings.
Bright, I can't even look directly at the screen, TJ. Need to cover my eyes.
I know. Just great. Let's see if Paladin can win. I talked a lot of smack about this deck from Muzzy, but maybe you're right. Maybe it is player diff, Dan. Maybe Muzzy's just a Paladin god.
I'm starting to believe so.
Paladin scrub.
May the light grant you peace.
Starting to believe it. I think
He hit the 1-drop.
He hit the 1-drop and the Hand of Adul, so he's off to a good start. But unironically, I actually do think it might be player diff. Because I see like how narrow some of these margins are and how you need to do every little tiny thing to try and give a chance to get a small advantage over your opponent.
Yep.
It actually
Sometimes though the game just ends on turn 2.
Oh yeah. Paladin's so far behind now. Oh!
Ooh, okay. Muzzy just was like, I knew I put that card in this deck for a reason.
A Murloc angle, TJ?
Okay. All right. See, No Hands is drawing the expensive side of his deck, though he's got ways to kind of curate this pool of minions. Has Playmaker plus the bumper car, the riders once his bumper car dies. Picks up a buffed Rikara. Gets to add a 10 Trasher to hand to go along with the mech that's on board. No Hands is cooking. Oh.
I cannot wait to read these.
How attendant, fantastic for reducing the cost of Librams. The question would be, how do you place this Libram? Murloc just to keep it surviving. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Create additional threats that the bumper car can't just immediately remove.
Okay. Moses like, ha 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 ha! Played perfectly into my Carial Roam.
I mean, yeah, he did, but it's not like No Hands really had much of a choice. Tent Trasher was definitely the best card that he could play here. And you mentioned that his curve is very top end heavy, and so left with no choice but to try and prioritize the best possible minion. That's often what you're thinking about as the warrior.
It was more so how he traded, right? He had the ability to like trade over the 3/2, and then like leave less power on board, but less health on board. In which case, like this would have been less punishing. So it was a deliberate choice. Oh, and he gets to fit in the hand of a doll as well.
Right. The hands, give him the hands.
And the reckoning. He's thinking about which minion to put it on. And I think the upside of keeping Carial alive, of being able to play Galloping Savior next turn, is too high. Being able to play Libra of Hope. Why did I say Galloping Savior? Just because I guess it was picked up.
Yes, it's a very real thing. Every caster knows that that happens all the time, which is like you're thinking about something else and then something appears on your screen, so you just read it as if that was what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah.
That Trasher comes down, trades into the Carial Realm. Oh! Abram of Judgment. That good to play right now? I mean, you set it up.
Yeah, I guess you can see what Murloc you get.
Let me think.
Unless he wants to just push 5 now, but I don't think that's... I think you want value from this Underlight Angling Rod. If he gets a reasonable Murloc, he could always like play the Murloc, Hero Power, Galloping Savior, then Libra of Hope next turn, then follow that up with Libra of Judgment, because the lifesteal on the Libra of Judgment could give him some wiggle room of like a turn to play Lady Liadrin where he can attack into things and heal back up and not worry about dying.
That's a good point. Definitely like the swing here no matter what.
Move quickly.
Okay, not really that great, but board presence is board presence.
Something.
Reporting for duty.
It has synergy with his deck because he plays Mutinous the Devourer. So Mutinous the Devourer not only would eat a minion in No Hands' hand, it would also deal 1 damage to all enemies.
True.
Contrary to popular belief, Archdruid Neralex is not a Murloc.
Dang, I was really hoping that it would be.
Within the Wailing Caverns, he has to fend off many Murlocs. I think? Yeah. No, he summons one. I don't know. He summons Mutinous. Something like that. I don't remember. It's been a while.
I think Muzzy was thinking about the Libram for a long time and now has the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. like the smack, just to make sure that it can't trade in, value trade over the 8-8. It was going to get its frenzy bonus no matter what. Conditioning would be so good right now for No Hands. Just like the playmaker plus a bunch of little stuff. Just like been almost good enough every turn. He could go playmaker Rakara, which is at 4 attack.
Here for a good time.
And then Darkmoon Rider is just going to go double.
Yeah, it's not that the Rakara does anything with the effect, it's that you need to survive the onslaught. The Galloping Savior, oh, it does survive because of the 3-4 taunt.
Well, then he's going to have to trade everything in.
Yeah.
He can go crush over the 3-4 and then the 1-1 and then double Rakara into the 8-8. But then
Can he though?
Dies, so it doesn't even get value out of it.
But he gets the weapon swing though.
Okay.
Painful exchange. Muzzy has the Lady Liadrin that he can continue to buff up with the Librams. Can play Libram of Judgment and the double Libram of Wisdom this turn. That's something that stuck out to me immediately for him to deal with the Playmaker. Could also just Libram and then Lady Liadrin. Also perfectly serviceable to me.
Only problem is his Librams are still quite expensive. He only has the one Aldor Attendant as a Libram buff. But this will maybe... Ooh, conditioning. That would have been great last turn.
Conditioning would have been the nuts last turn. Instead, No Hands has to think about if he wants to play that or play the Troublemaker. Overlord Runthok comes into the board, buffing up the rest of the hand here. No Hands has to make do with what he's got. The big thing that he knows is that he's outmatched resource-wise because of the Librams over the long term. Oh no, Muzzy drew the Meeting Stone. Melting Stone sounds like a great Korean barbecue restaurant. Yeah, it's like an Asian fusion place that you can head over to on a Friday night.
Or fondue.
That's right. Fondue. Oh no, TJ, it's dinner time. I'm hungry. Meeting Stone. I mean, the problem with it is that you want to kill this Runthok, so you want to play the Libram Judgment too.
Well, he could go like Meeting Stone, Hand of a Doll, see what happens. Or he can just leave him up.
Interesting. I didn't consider this line. For him to just like maximize board presence every single turn. It ends up lining up very poorly versus this Claw Machine. Like extremely poorly. Oh.
Yeah.
What No Hands could do is swing at this 9/9. I guess he doesn't want to take too much damage himself. That is, his life is a resource that he doesn't get back as easily.
For a good time.
And now, what is he gonna draw? Is he draw like the Zoth or something? Something that's super big? Sure.
See. Yeah, I think you just play it. You don't have any rush minions in your hand. Sure, like it strands the conditioning, but I mean, what else are you gonna do? Does he do attack with the weapon as well? Wait.
Big ETC.
Yep.
Did he miss damage? No, he wanted to get the +1/+1 buff. Okay.
He missed 2 damage. He traded 2 damage for +1/+1.
Right. No mistakes, only trade-offs.
In my folly, I have sowed chaos.
Ooh, sneaky!
Sneaky adventure, which allows you to place the Librams.
Yeah. But I don't think Muzzy's gonna live that. I don't think Muzzy's gonna live that long. This troublemaker is massive. I don't know how big it is now. It's gotten 2 run deck buffs and 2 conditionings. It's a 13-15. Cool. Muzzy does not play Libram of Justice in the deck.
You gonna cry?
That would be too easy for the Paladin.
Muzzy is dead. Real dead. Let's see, is there anything?
If he had picked up...
The victory is yours.
He had picked up Ysera Awakens and got a taunt, maybe. But that's going to wrap up game number 3. No Hand stays alive. And, you know, kind of brings up the questions that we had earlier with Paladin. Trying to see whether or not Paladin can get the win, because it does seem to struggle if it falls behind. And this game was pretty much in the Warriors in the driver's seat from the moment No Hands won the early battle, because that's like the window that Paladin wants to really capitalize upon. And you can see that Muzzy, his philosophy had shifted, which was, I want to play the biggest amount of stats I can every single turn. And then he just couldn't really keep up with the pace of the stats the Warrior was ramping up to. And then he lost. So in some ways, I think if you wanted to be over simplistic about it, you could say that Muzzy lost on turn 1, where his opponent coined out a thing. But you can also just show that the limitation of the Paladin deck, and you try to push it as far as you can, it's maximizing tempo every turn. It doesn't always work out.
You gonna cry?
Yeah, I feel like if he had just not gotten fancy, right? Not putting Mutinous or Archdruid Narrowlegs or Meeting Stones in his deck, and just had more like the Libra of Justice and you know, the extra Libra of Judgment, this deck would be in a much better position across the board in the metagame. Because it seems like the games where he's faltering with this deck are games where he's drawing a lot of those cards that just aren't doing anything on the board, and games where Libra of Justice and maybe an extra Penflinger in the deck would have been just sick, right? To allow him to have that board control to continue doing the powerful things that Libra Paladin does, which is build up a big board every turn, regardless of what they have in their hand, because they just keep having these Librams that get put back. But Muzzy's stuck with his deck, so nothing too... you know, hindsight is 20/20. Of course, I'm sure everybody would make changes to their lineup if they could. And now, Demon Hunter, the Death Rattle Demon Hunter for No Hands.
Death Rattle Demon Hunter has been a deck that has had some all over the map performances so far. Nothing super impressive, but also not too bad. Clearly has potential. Meeting Stone.
Oh, jeez. It just dies on board.
Yeah, but it gets you a 2/2 Adventurer.
Nice. A 2/2 Adventurer, which also dies to just the hero power next turn. Oh, he's going to leave the meeting. Oh.
Meeting Stone.
Meeting Stone's alive.
Sword of the Fallen. Alright, some interesting choices already introduced to Muzzy here. Oh yeah, see now this is something that I've been doing, which is I see Narlex, I play Narlex.
It's an adventure, another vital adventure, a dream. I don't know about that one, but... It's just curving out. It's just gonna kill him.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Muzzy's just playing with cards that feel like it's just a little too slow. He didn't win the early game board. And so he's just behind now. Wow, these two dream cards are huge, though, because it gives him some tempo swing opportunities.
Yeah, this is true. Like next turn, he could smack into the 2/2, go double dream, and then set up a vital adventure.
Demons.
Then you have a 3/3 and a 2/2 versus nothing on the board for no hands. That actually doesn't seem terrible. Yeah, I'm kind of on board with that.
Yeah, I think that these two dream cards are what gets Muzzy back into the game. Honestly, he's playing this kind of like Priest a little bit, focus on early generation. He's played 3 cards which generate stuff, the Meeting Stone, the Gnarlax, and the Angling Rod. As a result, has twice as many cards as his opponent. I like the dream play that you laid out, though. And he's going to do it.
See what Murloc he gets first. He's got 2 Mutinous.
Oh my gosh. I looked away into just my headset for a half second because it was all tangled up. I look over and there's a Mutinous in the hand, TJ.
There's 2 Mutinous in the hand.
Must move quickly.
There's Mutinous.
Mutinous.
Okay. Nothing's died. I only play 1 thing this turn.
Right. It's still one of my fundamental problems with Vectis, which it feels like you have to play from ahead, but you also have to draw the right cards when you're ahead, because Vectis would also just like not do anything if you draw the wrong death rattles. We saw that, for example, with like the Fell Rattler, just summon 1/1s that deal damage to all enemy minions. There are no minions. Oh. Attack onto the Gnarlax using his own health as a resource. Okay. So perhaps anticipating that the 1/1s are going to potentially be the reason why the Gnarlax dies. No Hands is already thinking turns ahead here.
Okay, on my Yogg to prevent the skull.
Soul shards to feel.
Okay. No skull on head for no hands. Kind of the tough part of Oh My Yogg for no hands period is that he really just doesn't have many spells in the deck. He's got double skull, double fury, and then double Illidari studies, and that's it. And not having one in the hand, if he does draw us at the top. I mean, obviously it's not a dead draw, but it's not the most efficient. Okay.
So Libram allows Muzzy to trade up, so you could play Elder Truth Seekers and the Libram trade up. It's one thing. I think what I'm also considering for Muzzy is what's the best setup for Mutinous and back-to-back turns. And there's some big hits with that N'Zoth. You shut down N'Zoth away from no hands.
May the light grant you peace.
I mean, if you do that, you're just taking the fangs off of this beast here. There's just nothing that no hands has at the very, very top end outside of the Illidari Inquisitor. You do it again. You hit the Illidari Inquisitor.
I mean, like, that's if no hands even lives that long. Because if it hits like Illidari Inquisitor right off the bat, it's just a 12/12.
True.
And this is the awkward position where No Hands wants to spend his mana, but I guess he could go trade Vectus, or play the boar, then trade Vectus, and then he'll get everything out of his hand, and then Muzzy would be guaranteed Mutinous on Illidar Inquisitor and Azoth.
Yeah, I wonder if that was something that Muzzy had considered, which was that if you get Mutinous off the Angling Rod, you just win in a curve battle. Had to have at least gone into his calculations.
Yeah.
Vectus. Oh my gosh, it's happening, TK! He's pulling all the good cards.
All right.
Now you can trade into a 1/1, pull it out, then go for the Mutinous.
I think he just played the Mutinous. Illidar Inquisitor. No!
Are you sure?
That's a real shame.
The 1/1s would have pulled out.
He doesn't know that there's anything. He doesn't know that there's anything in the hand. Like,
yeah, but the deck is like all minions, TJ.
But he just saw both Beastmasters. He just saw both Beastmasters traded in last turn, and they both summoned something. Like, what are the odds that they're going to summon another thing?
I mean, pretty high, because it could be a Vengeful Spirit, it could be Deathspeaker Blackthorn. These are all good cards to land on.
It can't be a Vengeful Spirit, because Vengeful Spirit's not a death rattle. There were only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards out of 19. No, 5 cards out of 20 or 21 if you consider the other 2 cards that are in the hand. So less than a quarter of the deck that would have been pulled out by that. Like both of those.
I'm saying
Studies, Deathspeaker Blackthorn, Skull of Gul'dan, the Ace Hunter Kreen, Sigil of Summoning, Furies, Illidar Inquisitor, N'Zoth. All of those things wouldn't get pulled out.
Right. I think you might be misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that he had a lot of upside to hit those cards. Those are cards that are devastating to eat.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, from the perspective of you would want to do that opportunity, it's okay. He still has another Mutinous. And the trade without the Illidari Inquisitor is still a pretty big deal.
Yep. If he doesn't hit this one, I don't even know anymore.
I mean, he has the ability to try to fish for it again, but...
Yep. What? No, why? Mutinous has eaten nothing all day.
I mean,
he dodged it twice. He dodged it twice. How?
Man, it was really close. I mean, it would have been a different story, though. It's easy for us to say, though. You know, we have vision, of course, on the hands, but like it's one of these things where now Muzzy doesn't have that angle with the Mutinous, and No Hands can pretty much deal with the board state, but he has to account for the revival, right? He has to think about what his board looks like if he plays N'Zoth and revives everything. All right, N'Zoth. As he knows, just narrowly whiffing it. Oh, he gets the other demon back. He doesn't actually get the Illidari Inquisitor.
Wait, Sigil of Summoning. Sigil of Summoning summons demons.
Oh gosh, that hadn't happened to me when I would play the deck because I had always gotten the Inquisitor back. I had forgotten about that. Apologies, it's a new card, so
No Hands is still gonna stuff like No Hands is still gonna lose.
That is absurd. That is absolutely.
I completely forgot, honestly, that the token was a demon. Now Muzzy also
me
gets
too.
it right off the N'Zoth.
Yeah. It makes sense because, again, it hadn't come up that often. Because a lot of times you'd plan for the Inquisitor, but you can start to see some of the deck building decisions that can be at odds with each other.
Yeah.
Oh no, lordy lord. And that could be what cost No Hands a chance at top 4.
Yeah.
Move quickly.
So he knows that in that last Vectis dragon, it are the 2 1/1s with taunt. So he can't go face to try and set up a 2-turn because the Libram of Wisdoms are on his Mutinous, which wouldn't die, and so he can't like spell Penflinger to get through the 1/1s.
Right.
You'd have to rely on drawing spell top. Oh my gosh, that is literally the only draw that means anything.
Right, but what does it mean though? Like, what does he have? Rushers? He has 1 Performer, I believe.
He has a Performer and a Fishy Flyer.
And a Rattler.
And the Fell Rattler. That's insane that No Hands dodged both those Mutinous and then drew the only card off the top that really did anything. Because there's no Mayag up. So even like a Skull off the top, sure, he could have gotten like a 6-mana spell that was beneficial, but...
I guess the good news is that's still entirely manageable from Muzzy's end, right? Got Penflinger and Librams. Got Libram with Judgment.
Yeah.
Is it manageable? There's actually a lot of power. I forgot about the Death Rattles.
There's only a single Libra of Wisdom.
Okay, so the True Seeker, that reduces the Libram of Judgment. Then you can play the Libra of Judgment with the Penflinger, kill 2 things, restore 5 health. That's one line. Another would be to just Penflinger a bunch of things down and then play and forget about the Libra of Judgment and just play a taunt of the Elder True Seeker at the back to defend yourself. But yeah, he only has 1 Libram of Wisdom to really make this work, so...
I'm going to throw the book at you.
It's too hard.
I think he's probably supposed to just go Carriel Roam here, to be honest.
Quickly.
I don't know, because then if he plays Carriel Roam, then he doesn't have anything to attack it immediately with the Librams the next turn. Just sacrificing the Penflinger. I mean, this is, from his perspective, like the last board that he has to deal with. He's just hoping that...
Oh my
off the top.
gosh. Just straight up heat. Oh my gosh. Is that lethal? No. 3,
no.
8, 9, 10, 11. It's very close, DJ. If he was able to do it, but
I grow
a little bit off of mana, a little bit off of damage. I can't believe that this deck is getting in there. It just required back-to-back perfect draws with back-to-back perfect outcomes.
Frustrating for Muzzy.
Totally.
Yeah, he's dead. He's got to draw a Libram Pope right now.
We'll fight back these brutes.
Oh?
Okay, can still draw it and play it.
Oh?
Can still draw it and not play it. Nope, he only has 4 Libram discount, so it costs 5. Muzzy is dead. That's insane to me. That is insane.
I am speechless right now. I can't believe he's done it.
The victory is yours.
What a comeback. No Hands ties it up. We're going to game 5 again. Find out who is advancing to the top 4. Is it NoHandsGamer or is it Muzzy?
That was like the battle of the this is gonna sound mean. The battle of the bad decks. Both decks just seem like a little bit unrefined, and you can kind of tell at the end there when essentially they're just top decking to see who wins, right? You're looking at tier 1 meta decks like that. You rarely get into situations where you're just like top decking to see who wins. I mean, from the get-go, a lot of things had to go wrong from Muzzy's side for No Hands to win. If either of the Mutinists hit N'Zoth or Illidari Inquisitor, if Blackthorn wasn't the very next draw after this turn where the N'Zoth was killed, then Muzzy wins that game. So No Hands got a second life now. He's got to make use of it. It's going to be the Spell Mage once again, and I think this matchup is pretty tough against Libra Paladin.
Yeah, it's one of these things where I felt like Muzzy was supposed to win this game in this series, and now we're going to game number 5 where anything can happen. And Mage is one of the strongest decks in the format. Going into the expansion, people really thought this Mage deck was unstoppable. It got nerfed and still really powerful. So let's go into it. Game 5, Meeting Stone, the only card kept. No Encounters Flow to begin things for No Hands.
It's a pretty good opening hand for Muzzy, and not a great opening. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Meeting Stone. You don't say. Ho, ho, ho.
Sneaky Adventurer. A Sneaky Adventurer against Mage is actually really good. Makes it hard for them to interact with. You need to have Combustion or Devolving Missiles or something, or Shooting Star. Wow, this is a hand from Paladin.
It's still so small. Why is it so small? Alright, Meeting Stone dealt with.
There you go.
I cannot wait to read these.
Double Outdoor Attendant, Knight of Anointment. I mean, these are all great things for Muzzy to kind of piece together. I kind of like the Sword of the Fallen as well. I don't want to draw the secrets, and that's definitely been something that's problematic for a lot of Paladin decks that plays that many cards that are really just weak draws. They're pretty good when you can get them for free and play it. No Hands.
Muzzy probably incredibly happy to see that.
Yeah, this is looking like a situation where No Hands has just got no plays, really.
Mm-hmm.
Has to play Ring Toss just for one secret. That's a really bad situation. I think he chose Oasis Ally because he's setting up for the Apexis Blast.
Yeah. If he pulls Oh My Yawg here.
That's right. That is one secret that could lock things out. On the other hand,
nope. He pulled Reckoning. But can No Hands risk it?
he might have to. The thing is, converting to another 5-mana spell could also have some pretty significant upsides, right? Like, what if it turns into big AoE?
Oh! That's insane!
That is very good. He can deal with it, though. Oh, wow, that is very...
There's an Oasis ally.
Oh, you're right. Well, if he places the Truth Seeker on the far end...
I wonder...
That's harder for the Thresher to get through, right? And maybe just like stack it so that the Alder True Seeker kills the Thresher if he trades into it. Place it like far left. Double Librams onto the True Seeker, then push face.
Let me think.
You could also just use the Librams to just constantly trade up, right? You could just like Libra of Wisdom, trade. Libra of Wisdom, Libra of Wisdom.
Yeah, that's true.
I must move quickly.
Actually, the second one wouldn't kill because it goes up to 5 health.
That's fine. And then you can just the True Seeker and just leave it as is. I think this is perfectly fine. Oh no, yeah, and then he can use it on the. He can use the Sword of the Fallen. Oh, this is good, Alex.
Yep, I like it. Very
Nice little
clean.
spot.
Does take some damage, but it's not the end of the world.
Hands. Yeah. It's effectively just looking for devolving missiles right now. It was Oh My Yogg pulled from this weapon attack.
Yeah. That's tough because the Oh My Yogg turns his Cran Session into nothing. Well, potentially something. There's a buff. Oh my
No way! No way!
gosh. Wait, but you said it's Reckoning?
There's Reckoning up.
That is a big deal. But I mean, that's so big. Cram Session.
Hearthstone just wants Muzzy to lose this series.
Oh, yeah.
Hearthstone just wants Muzzy to lose this series based on what's happened in the last 2 games. This is unbelievable.
So he plays Cram Session, and it turns into better Cram Session. Got it.
Okay. Well, I mean, Muzzy still might win just because he has just a ton of raw damage.
Yeah, when you have the
And there's
Libra
no ice barrier.
and you have the Alexstrasza, you're starting to think about it for sure.
Yeah.
Reporting for duty.
Okay.
NoHands has cleared this turn. Pushing Spring Water, drawing. He needs to find something to survive. Something pretty dramatic. Either freezing the face, stopping Muzzy from being able to play Alexstrasza, or healing himself, or killing Muzzy. These are his options, and they're all pretty impractical at the moment. The Mage is certainly one of those classes that you have to be mindful of. This is one of the situations, too, where NoHands doesn't have a series of wacky outs, though, because he would need the Battling Book to generate Deck of Lunacy. Because he doesn't play it in his deck.
I mean, we're looking at an opportunity where Muzzy doesn't even need Alexstrasza. He pushes 6 this turn, 5 the next turn, and then just a Sword of the Fallen poke on the very last turn would be enough. So he's going to play around Mirror Entity with the Burly Adventurer. I like this, making sure that he gets the 1 damage in first. Now NoHands is forever within Alexstrasza range, so he's on a 2-turn clock, and that's if he can last through this turn.
Right.
And
there's still a lot of pressure.
Be Blood Mage Flame. Okay, Blood Mage Flame. Okay.
Now, I would say that it wouldn't be the worst position if NoHands had discounts, right? Because you could go for it, but yeah, Libram's activating.
It's game.
Now Muzzy has done it. He has upset the #1 seed 3-2 and will advance to the top 4 in a hard-fought series back and forth from almost being relegated out of Grandmasters to making the playoffs in the final seed in 8th place to now beating the #1 seed coming from the losers bracket. Muzzy is very quietly stringing together an impressive win streak at the right moment. Now he's 2 wins away, TJ. 2 wins away from going to the World Championship for the first time in a little over 2 years.
It would just be insane if you were able to make that run. He just seems so hard to beat right now. Like, this Libra Paladin, I don't know what it is, because he brought it in his Miracle Run to get through that last week, right, and dig himself out of relegation, qualify for playoffs.